All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful idea. What if being honest wasn't, just about being a good person? What if it was actually a strategy, a tool for a happier, less exhausting life? We're going to break down how you can use honesty to just simplify everything. And more importantly, what you do when you run into that one person who makes the whole strategy feel impossible. Okay, let's get into it. This quote right here, it changes everything. The whole idea isn't about being good just for the sake of being good. Nope, it's purely strategic. Honesty becomes this tool, a really practical way to protect your own peace, your own energy. And this shift in thinking from a moral duty to a personal strategy, that's the core idea we're going to explore. So how does this strategy actually work? Well, it boils down to two incredibly simple rules. First, don't lie. Second, say your truth as clearly as you possibly can. That's it. If you can stick to those two things, you've done your part. The point isn't to be some kind of saint. It's to cut down on all that pointless drama and the mental exhaustion that comes right along with it. But, and you've probably run into this beautifully simple strategy has one major flaw. There's a certain type of person out there who can take your honest, clear communication and just completely twist it, turning it into a weapon against you and totally wrecking your goal of a more peaceful life. Now, let's be super clear about who we're talking about here. This is not just someone who disagrees with you, okay? It's not someone with a different opinion. We're talking about a person who can hear the facts, they can see the truth plain as day, and they still make a choice, a conscious choice, to deny it or twist it all around. See, their goal isn't to find a solution with you. Their goal is just to win. And that makes any kind of real good faith conversation a total dead end. And this is the part you really gotta get. You can control whether or not you lie. You can control how clearly you speak. But what you absolutely cannot control is someone else's deliberate decision to just ignore reality. This is the one communication problem that is completely 100% out of your hands, because the other person isn't playing by the rules of reason or logic. And that leads us to a really tough but really vital realization. Trying to argue with this person, trying to convince them with facts and logic, is a complete and total waste of your time and your energy. Let's look at exactly why that is. So, in a healthy situation, your honesty strategy creates this amazing positive loop. You're honest and clear, which leads to fewer misunderstandings, which then builds trust. That trust leads to better, stronger relationships, and those relationships bring you peace of mind. That's how it's supposed to work. It's a beautiful thing. But that stubborn person, they just shatter the whole cycle. Because they intentionally reject the facts, trust can never form. Your honesty doesn't create less conflict, it just gives them more ammo for more arguments. The entire system just collapses the second they decide to distort the truth. And here's the real price you pay for staying in that game. Instead of solving problems, the same issues just come up over and over again. Instead of building trust, you just end up feeling betrayed. All your good faith efforts get twisted, and you're left with this awful cocktail of frustration and just pure exhaustion. Your strategy for happiness has been flipped and used against you. So if arguing is pointless, what do? The answer isn't to fight harder. It's to make a strategic retreat. And that brings us to the most effective solution there is: the art of gradual distancing. So you basically have two ways to create space. You could go for a sudden, dramatic break, but that almost always blows up in your face. It provokes a huge reaction. Remember who you're dealing with. They might attack you, start drama, spread rumors. It gets messy. Gradual distancing, on the other hand, is this quiet, strategic choice to slowly pull back, reduce contact, and just lower the emotional temperature. I mean, just look at the emotional cost here. The goal is simple: protect your own energy. A big confrontation is a massive drain on that energy. But gradual distancing, it's designed specifically to save it. It's a quiet but incredibly powerful choice to stop pouring your energy into a relationship that only ever takes. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's get practical and break down some examples of how to do this at work, with your friends, and even in that trickiest of places, with family. Okay, here's a classic work situation. Your boss swears they told you to do something, but you know for a fact they didn't. Arguing is just going to get you labeled as difficult, so instead you distance. You say, got it. Hey, just to make sure I don't miss anything going forward, could we have all future instructions sent over by email? See, you didn't call them a liar. You just built a new system where they can't distort reality anymore. Or maybe it's a friend who always twists things around to make it seem like your fault. Trying to prove you're right just ends in this draining, emotional fight. So, what's the strategic move? You start texting back a little less often. You politely say no to a few invitations. And when you do talk, you keep it light. You don't give them any ammunition. You're not starting a war, you're just letting the friendship fade to a level that doesn't suck the life out of you. And this is often the toughest one, right? When it's a family member who just refuses to own what they've said or done, you can feel totally trapped. But the solution is the same. You just have to apply it carefully. Maybe those daily calls become weekly calls. You keep the conversations on safe, surface-level stuff, the weather, what's for dinner. You're protecting your own peace by limiting the chances for them to start a conflict. And this right here, this is the thought that can set you free. Once you've been honest and you've been clear, your job is over. It is not your responsibility to force another person to accept reality. Letting go of that impossible job, that's the key to getting your energy and your peace of mind back. So let's wrap all this up. It is so easy to look at this whole idea and think it's about giving up or being weak, but that is missing the point entirely. This is about playing a much smarter game. Choosing to distance yourself is actually the ultimate power move. It's the moment you decide to stop playing their exhausting game of endless arguments and you start playing your own game, the one where the goal is a peaceful, happy, less tiring life. It's an act of self-preservation. And it's the final and most critical part of a truly successful strategy of honesty. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about in your own life. The next time you find yourself locked in one of those pointless battles with someone who just refuses to see the facts, ask yourself, what's my real goal here? Is it that temporary buzz of proving I'm right? Or is it the lasting peace that comes from choosing to be happy? The choice, as always, is yours. Thanks for joining us for The Explainer.